Hi friends. Welcome to Kerala EduStar. If you are watching the channel for the first time, please subscribe to the channel. Then share it with your friends and relatives. If you like the video, please like it. Today our video includes Kerala syllabus 8th class social science 2nd chapter, the River Valley Civilization. Of the lesson textual questions and important notes. Let's go to the video. Chapter 2, the River Valley Civilization. In this unit, we have discussing a few civilizations that flourished in river valleys. The use of bronze, agricultural progress, development of trade and craftsmanship, the art of writing, progress in the field of science, etc. were the remarkable common features of these civilizations. The Harappan civilization flourished in the valleys of the river Indus and its tributaries in the period between BCE 2700 and 1700. The use of burnt bricks, bronze tools, drainage, streets, granaries, and the Great Bath were the major features of the Harappan civilization. The Harappan people cultivated various crops. Agricultural progress led to the development of trade. They excelled in craftsmanship. The Egyptian, Mesopotamian, and Chinese civilizations were contemporary to the Indus Valley civilization. These civilizations achieved remarkable progress in the fields of science, mathematics, and architecture. Let's go to the chapter. Chapter 2, the River Valley Civilization. Indus Valley Civilization. The excavations revealed that a civilization had existed in the valleys of the river Indus and its tributaries. Hence, the civilization came to be known as the Indus Valley Civilization. The first excavation was conducted in Harappa in the present Pakistan. It was led by Daya Ram Sahni. Since the first evidence for the Indus Valley Civilization was obtained from Harappa, this civilization is also known as the Harappan civilization. It was R.D. Banerjee who led the excavations in Mohenjo-daro in the present Pakistan. Further researches on this civilization are going on. The Harappan civilization stretched across the region ranging from the western part of Pakistan to Alamgirpur in Uttar Pradesh, and from Kashmir in the north to the Narmada Valley in the south. The period of this civilization is generally placed between BCE 2700 and BCE 1700. Complete the chart that indicates the excavations of the Indus Valley civilization. Observe the map and list the major sites of the Indus Valley civilization in the table given. Identify the present countries in which they are situated. Features of cities. All buildings were built of burnt bricks. The cities had two parts. The west was higher, used by administrators. The east was lower and was inhabited by the common people. Houses were built along both sides of planned streets. Effective drainage systems existed there. The key feature of the Harappan cities was the use of hard burnt bricks. All buildings were built of burnt bricks. The cities Harappa, Mohenjo-daro, and Lothal all had two parts. Houses were built along both sides of planned streets. They were of varying structures. Some houses had only one room, whereas others had more rooms, a courtyard and a well. Every house had a toilet. The drainage system was another feature of these cities. The wastewater from the houses was let out into the drains. These drains were connected to the main drain of the street. The drains were built of burnt bricks and covered with stone slabs. Effective drainage systems existed even in small towns and villages. In Mohenjo-daro, a great tank, called the Great Bath, was discovered. It is an evidence for the architectural skill of the people of that period. It was built entirely with burnt bricks. What hints about the social and administrative system can be obtained from the ruins of the Harappan cities. The city's Harappa administration system are two parts. The part of the city to the west was higher. It was used by the administrators. The ruins of a big building, probably an assembly hall, were discovered here. The part of the city to the east was lower and was inhabited by the common people. The ruins of many buildings that might have been houses were unearthed here. The social and the administration reforms were categorized into different phases in general, and mainly it is concerned towards the irrigation, agricultural reforms extra. As the Ss.Em in the banks of the river Indus. Discuss and prepare a note on the importance of personal and social hygiene maintained by the people of the Indus Valley civilization. The importance of personal and social hygiene maintained by the Harappan people. Hygiene drainage system existed in the cities. The wastewater from the houses was let out into the drains. The drains were covered with stone slabs. Effective drainage systems existed even in small towns and villages. Granary and agriculture. Granaries are significant among the ruins discovered from Harappa. They were big buildings with the facility to dry and store grains. The remains of wheat, barley, millet, sesame, pulses, etc. have been found here. Evidence of rice cultivation has been uncovered from Rangpur and Lothal in Gujarat. Cotton was also cultivated. The urban folk depended on the villages for food and work. The villages were the major market for the urban product. Examine the role played by the villages in the existence of the Harappan civilization. Urban planning. Burnt bricks were used to build cities. Planned streets, houses on both sides, and drainage system. Granary. The agricultural products were stored in the granary. The surplus agricultural products and grains collected in the form of revenue were kept in the granary. Such granaries are the evidences for the existence of an efficient administrative system. The agricultural fields in the villages were fertile. It is the alluvial soil deposited by the river Indus that made them fertile. In Kalibangan in Rajasthan, farming was done by ploughing the land. The figures of ploughs made of clay were discovered from here. Canals were constructed for irrigation. In addition to agriculture, animal husbandry also existed. Plenty of animal bones have been unearthed from here. The figures of rhinoceros and elephants made of clay have also been found. They reared ox, goat, pig, and sheep. The surplus agricultural products were stored in the granary. The grains collected in the form of revenue were also kept there. The grains thus stored were made available to the public. Such granaries are the evidence for the existence of an efficient administrative system. The Harappan granaries speak many things about the administrative system of that period. What are they? This civilization is considered as highly civilized and developed because of its efficient administration. The well-planned towns, the efficient drainage system, the Great Bath and the granaries clearly depict the presence of a well-organized and highly centralized authority. Trade. The agricultural progress led to surplus production and storage of grains. Accurate weights and measures were used for exchanging the stored products. Weighing and measuring tools have been unearthed from here. The inscriptions discovered from Mesopotamia mention their trade relation with Maluha. Historians opine that Maluha is probably Harappa. The Mesopotamian seals found from Harappa also provide evidence for this trade link. Lothal was one of the centers of maritime trade. The clay models of sailing ships obtained also prove their maritime trade link. The seals widely found from the Indus Valley sites were probably used for the purpose of trade. However, no evidence for the use of coins has been found yet. They collected copper from the mines of Khetri in the present Rajasthan and tin from the present Afghanistan and Central Asia. Copper was mixed with tin to produce bronze. They made tools and weapons using bronze. Since bronze was widely used in the Harappan civilization, it came to be known as Bronze Age civilization. What are the evidences that signify the trade relations of the Harappan people? The inscriptions discovered from Mesopotamia mention their relation with Maluha Harappa. The Mesopotamian seals were found Harappa. The clay models of sailing ships obtained prove their maritime trade links. Handicrafts and occupational groups. The seals, clay figures, utensils, ornaments, etc. dug out from Harappa bear witness to their craftsmanship. The ruins of kilns where pottery was produced have been widely dug out. Ornamental works were done on clay pots. Animal figures were molded from clay. Figures of men, women, and carts have also been uncovered from here. Copper, bronze, and gold were used to make ornaments. Evidence of centers where beads were made have been unearthed in Lothal. Bangles were made from clay, bronze, and tortoise shells. Those skilled at making handicrafts. The Harappans did not give importance to forging weapons. The artistic skill of the Harappans is reflected in the seals they made. The seals were made from clay and stones. The statuette of the dancing girl found from Mohenjo-daro is also an example for their artistic skill. The diverse handicrafts hint at the existence of occupational groups. We can discern that the Harappans had their own script. The attempts to decipher them have not yet been successful. Belief systems. The seals found from Harappa provide information about the then belief systems. Clay figures of women have widely been discovered. They prove the existence of worshipping the mother goddess. Such worship existed in connection with fertility of the soil. Historians opine that the figures of men found from here are the early form of Siva, Proto-Siva. They also worshipped animals and trees. The great bath unearthed in Mohenjo-daro might have been used for religious ceremonies. The fall of the Harappan civilization. The Harappan civilization began to decline by BCE 1700. Several views prevail on the causes of its decline. A few of them are given below. Flood, external invasions, deforestation, decline of agricultural sector, epidemics. Egyptian, Mesopotamian, and Chinese civilizations. Mesopotamian, Egyptian, and Chinese civilizations. Wide use of bronze tools was the common feature of all these civilizations. Hence, these civilizations are commonly known as Bronze Age civilizations. Egyptian civilization. Tutankhamun was a king of ancient Egypt. Back then, the kings of Egypt were known as pharaoh. The practice of preserving the body of the dead prevailed in Egypt. A corpse preserved thus is called a mummy. Pyramids were tombs where the mummies were preserved. They remain as evidence for the excessive use of labor and wealth. This civilization flourished in the valley of the river Nile. Agriculture was the backbone of this civilization. The Egyptians also engaged in weaving and production of glassware. They formed an art of writing. It is known as hieroglyphics, which means sacred writing. They used the leaves of the plant called papyrus for writing. The Egyptians also attained amazing advancement in the field of science. They formulated a solar calendar. As per this calendar, a year had 365 days. A year was divided into 12 months of 30 days each. The remaining 5 days were set aside for celebrations. Their advancement in the field of mathematics is also significant. They could calculate the area of triangles and rectangles. To determine time, they made sundial, a clock that tells time by the shadow cast by the sun, and water clock that works on water current. The Egyptians were also skillful in sculpture. It is evident from the Sphinx, a statue with lion's body and human head. Mesopotamian civilization. The Mesopotamian civilization flourished in the region where the modern Iraq is situated. Mesopotamia is the land between the rivers Euphrates and Tigris. These rivers originate from the Armenian mountains and merge with the Persian Sea. The word Mesopotamia means the land between the rivers. 4 different civilizations emerged and declined in Mesopotamia. They were the Sumerian, the Babylonian, the Assyrian, and the Chaldean. The fertile soil of Mesopotamia helped agricultural progress. It led to trade and the consequent growth of cities. Arik, and Lagash were the major cities in ancient Mesopotamia. Cities were also trading centers. The Mesopotamian system of writing is called cuneiform. Prepare a note on the achievements of the Mesopotamians in the field of science. They achieved a remarkable progress in the field of mathematics and astronomy. They formulated a calendar based on the movements of the moon and divided a year into 12 months, a month into 4 weeks. They divided a day into 24 hours. They knew division, multiplication, and square roots. The script was wedge-shaped. They were written on the smooth surface of wet clay tablets. A sharp stylus was used for writing. The tablets were then baked in the sun. A huge collection of these tablets has been found here. Most of them were related to trade. They achieved remarkable progress in the field of mathematics and astronomy. They formulated a calendar based on the movements of the moon. They divided a year into 12 months, a month into 4 weeks, and a day into 24 hours. They knew division, multiplication, and square root. The construction of temples, namely ziggurat, is the evidence of the amazing architectural skills of the ancient Mesopotamians. They were constructed in cities. They were built on artificial hillocks using bricks. Chinese civilization. The Chinese civilization flourished in the valley of the river Huanghe. Agriculture was the base of this civilization. They were also skillful in weaving, making pottery, and silk production. The art of writing existed in ancient China as well. The script was pictographic, not alphabetic. Later it developed into an ideographic script. Like ancient Mesopotamians and Egyptians, ancient Chinese too formulated a calendar in which a year consisted of 365.5 days. Prepare a note on the achievements of the Mesopotamian, Egyptian, and Chinese civilizations in arts, science, and the art of writing. Mesopotamian art, cuneiform, wedge-shaped script. Sharp style was used for writing written on the smooth surface of wet clay tablets. Ziggurats. Temples in cities were built on artificial hillocks using bricks. Science. They achieved a remarkable progress in the field of mathematics and astronomy. They formulated a calendar based on the movements of the moon and divided a year into 12 months, a month into 4 weeks. They divided a day into 24 hours. They knew division, multiplication, and square roots. Egyptian art. They formed an art of writing known as hieroglyphics. It means scarred writing. They used the leaves of the plant called papyrus for writing. The Sphinx, a statue with lion's body and human head. Pyramids, the tombs where the mummies were persevered. Science. They formulated a solar calendar. They could calculate the area of triangles and rectangles. Sundial, a clock that tells time by the shadow cast by the sun. Water clock, a clock that works on water current. Chinese art. The Chinese script was pictographic, not alphabetic. Later it was developed to an ideographic script. Science. Like ancient Mesopotamians and Egyptians, ancient Chinese too formulated a calendar in which a year consisted of 365.5 days. 1. Prepare a note on the early excavations in the Indus Valley regions. Answer. The efforts to excavate the places of Indus Valley civilization became effective only after the arrival of Sir John Marshall as the Director of Archaeological Survey of India. Under his leadership, Dayaram Sahni and his team started excavations at Harappa in 1920. At the same time, R.D. Banerjee and his team started excavations at Mohenjo-daro in 1921. Both these excavations proved that a great civilization had existed there in the Bronze Age. 2. Explain the features of life in the Indus Valley cities. Answer. All buildings were built of burnt bricks. The cities had two parts. The west was higher, used by administrators. The east was lower and was inhabited by the common people. Houses were built along both sides of planned streets. Effective drainage systems existed there. 3. What were the features of the Great Bath in Mohenjo-daro? Answer. In Mohenjo-daro, a great tank, called the Great Bath, was discovered. It is an evidence for their architectural skill. It was built entirely with burnt bricks. 4. What are the major handicrafts that prevailed in the Indus Valley civilization? Answer. Ornamental works were done on clay pots. Figure of men, women, animals and carts were molded from clay. The seals were made from clay and stones. They made statuette. 5. The Indus Valley civilization is an example of a Bronze Age civilization. Substantiate. Answer. The people of Indus Valley civilization widely used bronze weapons and instruments. Bronze is made by the combinations of tin and copper. So this civilization can be considered as an example for Bronze Age civilization. 6. The artistic skill of the Harappan people is evident in the seals they made. Explain with examples. Answer. A. Ornamental works were done on clay pots. B. Figures of men, women, animals and carts were molded from clay. C. Ornaments were made using copper, bronze, gold and clay. D. The seals were made from clay and stones. E. They made statuette. 7. Prepare a note on the art of writing in Mesopotamia. Answer. Cuneiform script was the contribution of the Mesopotamian people. It was wedge-shaped. They wrote this script in the smooth surface of wet clay tablets with sharp stylus. Most of the description were related to trade and trade symbols. 8. Analyze the progress achieved by the Bronze Age civilizations in the fields of science and mathematics. Answer. Solar calendar, sundial and water clock, lunar calendar. 9. Match column A with B. Answer. In this unit, we have discussed a few civilizations that flourished in river valleys. The use of bronze, agricultural progress, development of trade and craftsmanship, the art of writing, progress in the field of science. See with the remarkable common features of these civilizations. If you understand this chapter, thanks for watching the video. Thank you.